Grand afternoon. Hi, my name is Leonard Munson, the nomadic astrologer. My website is readings by leonardtmunson.net. Mercury retrograde, everyone's favorite excuse to arrive fashionably late too. Well, everything begins on June the 29th, 2026. Mercury will go retrograde. It's famously a period of miscommunication, delays, and technical difficulties. People could feel more forgetful or dizzy. Retrogrades can also bring reversal. If you lost your keys, you might find them. If you walk away from a relationship, you might find yourself walking back. If you are a sentimental person, this Mercury retrograde in Cancer might also find you in a particularly nostalgic, wishful mood. You might even feel a little tearful. But like all things astrologically, you need not to freak out. Personally, I revel in Mercury retrograde as a period to reconnect with those I care about, rest, and if I am in the mood to be busy, revisit projects I have put on the back burner. Mercury retrograde enters its pre-shadow period on June the 13th, during which is the time you might get a preview of what your Mercury retrograde story will be. The actual retrograde occurs between June the 29th and July the 23rd, 2026, and then there is a post-shadow period on August the 7th, and this will be a time of clarity when the stories that emerge during the retrograde might be tied up. For the following astrological sign, Aries, this Mercury retrograde will have you feverishly deciphering your grandmother's cuisine because you want to duplicate her recipe for apple pie. In other words, you might be in an uncharacteristically nostalgic mood. Aries, and chance may have it that you will run into childhood friends and family who you have not seen in a long time. Maybe this is the way for you to reconnect with your inner child, or to remind yourself why you left home. And as ever, be careful not to misplace your house keys. That said, you may find the heirloom ring you lost last season as you weed your heirloom tomatoes. Taurus, if you were a shoe, typically you would be a loafer. But during this Mercury retrograde, you are a flip-flop all the way. The decisions you made last month seem like distant memories, and your POV could take a surprising U-turn. There's nothing wrong with changing your mind, but those around you will be surprised, and you will have a lot of explaining to do. Communication problems could arise. This is Mercury retrograde after all. But with Mercury being in psychic Cancer, the key for you will be to listen to your intuition, even if the outside noise is overwhelming. Eventually, it will all come together, and fortunately, you have the patience to let it all fall into place. Gemini, astrologers also often advise against making special purchasing during this time because the items may not work as advertised. Or, as Geminis tend to do, you will change your mind and send it back. If there is something important you want to buy, check the return policy and prepare a plan B just in case. Don't stress, be prepared. Financial decisions may need to be reworked, and material concerns may be on your mind more generally. Maybe you will revisit an agreement with the client or employer, or bring it to renegotiation. Or maybe you will finally ask your friend to return that vintage piece you want back in your closet. Cancer, This Mercury retrograde takes place in your sign, making you the star of the show. And while it is true that Mercury retrograde can be very annoying, this also stands to be an incredible moment for Cancers to rediscover something that could change your life course. You have always romanticized the past, and now it might just pay off. On a lighter note, this could be a fun time to revisit an aesthetic that once dominated your wardrobe, as well as reconnect with someone who you knew many interaction of yourself ago. Seeing someone from the past can sometimes feel like time travel, and showing them who you are now might feel satisfying. Leo, when someone hears that a Pisces has a meditation room or that a Scorpio has a psychic on speed dial, no one bats an eye. But when you, Leo, dive into your spiritual side, people are surprised, as though the famous Leo Madonna hasn't been studying Kabbalah all these years. This Mercury retrograde might find you connecting with your spirituality in some big way. You might connect with your inner voice. Maybe your dreams will be especially vivid. This could be a very powerful time to reconnect with a part of yourself felt as though it was long lost. Retrogrades are all about words, and yours is reintegration. Powerful. Virgo, a game of telephone could go wrong in your social life during this Mercury retrograde. You may find out who your true friends are, who feels like a mature and grounded presence, and who thinks they are auditioning for a spot on Bravo's Real Housewives. Miss an old friend, this is a wonderful time to reconnect and remember why you adored spending time with them, or to remember while you mute them on socials. You might also revisit an intellectual interest that once captured your attention, finding new value in an old scene or concept that once inspired you. Libra, this Mercury retrograde could switch things up for you as you stand on the world stage. Maybe you're bringing back an old project of yours to show it off to a new audience. Perhaps you are pursuing a project you have put on the back burner. Or maybe you are collaborating with someone you worked with in the past. Libras are famous for their charm and grace, and while Mercury retrograde is commonly considered a time of slip-ups, you will likely know just how to handle any problems in public, possibly making you seem even more likable and reliable in the long run. Scorpio, translating your ideas smoothly might be challenging during Mercury retrograde in Cancer. However, once you say what you need to say, you might experience a major philosophical breakthrough. A mind-blowing experience could also take place, not the way you expected, and perhaps after a lot of back and forth, but ultimately a great understanding of the world and your place in it may arise. Spending time away from your unusual environment, some place that was once very familiar to you, but where you have not been in a while, might bring a tremendous new perspective. Sagittarius, when it comes to forgiving and forget, you are a natural. Your huge heart has an easy time letting people off the hook, and your busy social life leaves you a little time to remember every misstep. But this Mercury retrograde in sensitive Cancer asks you to get closer and clearer about boundaries in your relationships. This doesn't mean casting forgiveness aside, but it does mean being honest about whether or not that friend still has access to your secrets, the lover, your wallet, or the colleague, your brilliant ideas. Mercury retrograde is a great time to